Good evening. Welcome to this edition of Northeast Diary. Here we bring you the latest developments from India's unexplored Northeast region. In this edition, we will talk about the state-level workshop on the Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program organized in Gangtok and also learn about the recently inaugurated new integrated terminal buildings at Maharaja Bir Bikram Airport in Agartala by the Prime Minister. An eminent educationist and expert on the Khasi language, Professor Badaplen War was awarded the prestigious Padma Shri by the President of India on the eve of the 73rd Republic Day celebration for her contributions in the field of literature and education. She is the lone recipient from the state this year. We have a report.
Professor Badaplen War is a linguist in the Department of Khasi, Northeastern Hill University, and holds a doctorate degree from the University of London. She joined the Northeastern Hill University in 1983 and rose to become a professor in 2001. She has authored a number of books and submitted numerous research papers on Khasi language. Professor War is a specialist on Khasi morphology, phonology, sociolinguistics, literature in translation, Khasi literature and Khasi culture. She is also an expert on other tribal languages of the Northeast. Professor War is also associated with several educational institutions and organizations. Under her supervision, a number of PhD and MPhil scholars have written theses and papers on Khasi language.
Basically, I'm in academics my whole life. I studied in Nihu first, and then I studied in the University of Delhi for my MA and MPhil in linguistics. And then I did my PhD from the University of London when I was awarded the Commonwealth Association scholarship, and I went there to finish my PhD. But in all these different programs that I had attended, everything was always on Khasi language. That has always been my passion. Whether it was in the University of Delhi, my work was on Khasi syntax. In the University of London, my research was on Khasi language, both the syntactic aspect as well as the socio-linguistic aspect. I'm also associated with Khasi Author Society. At present, I'm the treasurer of the society. And as you probably, most of our people in our community know that the Khasi Author Society has spearheaded this movement to get our language included under the age schedule. So I'm very involved with that also. And we have such a huge number of languages belonging to the Austroasiatic language family. It's encouraging that one language from this language family has been included under the age schedule. That is Santali. I hope that in the not too distant future that Khasi also will find a place in the age schedule of the constitution of our country.
Showing excitement on winning this prestigious award when the state is celebrating its 50th Statehood Day, Professor Badaplen stated that this award will go a long way in promoting the Khasi language. This is Rustam for Northeast Diary from AIR News, Shillong.
Along with the rest of the country, Mizoram is taking all possible measures against the surging third wave of COVID-19 and the new Omicron variant. To contain the surge of infection, standard operating procedures have been revised and maximum thrust is given on following COVID-appropriate behavior. Here is a report from a correspondent from Aizawl.
Mizoram government has taken all measures against the surging third wave of COVID-19 and the new Omicron variant. Officials said that all national and international passengers at the Seoul Lengpui Airport are being tested as soon as they arrive. If one is tested positive through rapid antigen test, samples are sent for RT-PCR for another test. Then samples are sent to designated labs in West Bengal. Also, no tolerance fortnight is being observed across the state, while emphasizing on strict following of wearing face masks, using sanitizers and avoiding crowds in all public places. Even in workplace, 50% attendance has been enforced. The spokesperson and state nodal officer for COVID-19 management, Dr. Patwalal Malsoma, informed that as the Omicron variant is on the rise in many states, all possible preventive measures have been taken for the state. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Patwal further said,
with the coming of Omicron, we have received guidelines as how to go about, how to deal and manage the cases. So for the state of Mizoram, once the negatively tested foreign travelers enter the state of Mizoram, they are again tested with RT-PCR and quarantined till the result is out. And those who are positive for RT-PCR, their samples are again sent for sequencing at a designated laboratory in West Bengal. So far, we have sent over 240 foreign travelers have been screened, and 16 RT-PCR positive samples are now collected for sequencing, out of which we have received 2 results which turn out to be negative. As for further management of positive cases of Omicron variants, we have been trying to strengthen the bed capacity and other accommodation for even symptomatic people.
Meanwhile, the state has also stepped up testing rate along with mega vaccination of eligible people. Also, the state has recently received RT-PCR testing mobile van, which is the first of its kind in the Northeast region. This mobile testing van is known as Rapid Response Mobile Laboratory Van iLab. The mobile van, costing 1.05 crore rupees, is the first mobile diagnostic laboratory which is also capable of doing both RT-PCR and ELISA tests. Officials said it can also be utilized for testing other infectious diseases like TB and HIV, making it relevant even in the post-COVID period. For Northeast Diary, this is Irene from Aizawl.
A state-level workshop on Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, that is PMEGP, was recently organized by Khadi and Village Industries Commission in Gangtok to take stock of the scheme's progress in Sikkim. A report.
Under Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, or PMEGP, Khadi and Village Industries Commission has been working to generate employment opportunities in Sikkim by setting up self-employment ventures, micro-enterprises, and through financial assistance. The program is targeted at socio-economic development. At a recent workshop on PMEGP implementation in Sikkim, issues such as entrepreneurship development program, training, awareness program, banker sensitization, physical verification to check performance of projects, bringing together widely dispersed artisans and giving them self-employment opportunities, and arresting migration of rural youth to urban areas were discussed at length. Assistant Director, Khadi and Village Industries Commission, Sikkim, Vivekananda Roy, speaks about the status and scope of PMEGP in the state.
प्रधानमंत्री रोजगार सृजन कार्यक्रम के रूप में दिया गया है और ये आज के तारीख में खादी ग्रामोद्योग आयोग द्वारा चलाया जा रहा है फ्लैगशिप प्रोग्राम, जिसके तहत अभी तक कम से कम 7,22,000 से ज्यादा यूनिट देश भर में हमने स्थापना किया। यानी कि सूक्ष्म लघु उद्योग में 7,22,000 यूनिट को हमने अभी तक फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस थ्रू खादी ग्रामोद्योग आयोग दिया है। उसके अंदर सिक्किम के लिए 2008 से आज तक आपका 1,277 यूनिट को फाइनेंस किया गया, जिनमें से पिछले साल हमारा 85 यूनिट को फाइनेंस किया गया था और इस साल 88 यूनिट का टारगेट है। तो हर साल इसी तरह से उससे पहला साल 104 यूनिट, 19-20 में 104 यूनिट, 20-21 में 85 यूनिट और 21-22 में 88 यूनिट का हमारा टारगेट है। वो टारगेट के अंदर इस साल हम लोगों ने अभी तक अचीव किया है 58। मतलब ये जो है फाइनेंस ऑलरेडी हो चुका है, मार्जिन मनी भी रिलीज हो चुका है और रेस्ट ऑफ द प्रपोजल दैट इज आज आपने देखा सेमिनार में हमने ये वाइज डिस्कशन किया, कौन सा ब्रांच में कौन सा बैंक में पेंडिंग है। उसका डिस्कशन में आज के तारीख में 36 प्रपोजल पीएमईजीपी के अंडर में हमारे पास सभी बैंकों में पेंडिंग है। इसको क्लियर करने के लिए जितना जल्द हो सके सैंक्शन करवा के रोजगार मुहैया करवाने में ये एक मील का पत्थर साबित होगी। मैं उम्मीद रखता हूँ ये पीएमईजीपी यूनिट जो है आज के तारीख में जो हमारे पास जो बेरोजगारी का जो समस्या है उसको दूर करने में, दूसरा बात है कि लोकल प्रोडक्ट को बढ़ावा देने के लिए जैसा प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा है वोकल फॉर लोकल, तो ये जो है अभी क्या है कि स्थानिक स्तर पर जो प्रोडक्ट है हमारा, जैसा आपका जो पोटेंशियलिटी है यहाँ पे रॉ मटेरियल का, जैसे स्पाइसेस एंड कॉन्डिमेंट्स है, डाले खुशाने मिर्ची है, जैसा हल्दी है, ऑर्गेनिक अदरक है, ऑर्गेनिक आपका इलायची है, तो ये सबका प्रोसेसिंग के ऊपर आज वाला जो समय के मुताबिक जो चाहत बहुत है लोगों का, जैसा ब्यूटी पार्लर महिलाओं के लिए मतलब टूरिस्ट टैक्सी, जेंट्स के लिए टूरिस्ट टैक्सी, इसके बाद गिफ्ट शॉप, गैरेज, कार वॉशिंग, टूरिज्म में टूरिस्ट टैक्सी के द्वारा मतलब फाइनेंस करना। उसके अलावा ये जो आपका फ्रूट एंड वेजिटेबल प्रोसेसिंग है, जिसमें आपका पोटेंशियलिटी है, जो ऑर्गेनिक गाजर वगैरह होता है यहाँ, उसको प्रोसेस करके, जैसे कीवी होता है, ऑरेंज होता है, तो ये सबको प्रोसेस करके उसका जेली, उसका सॉस, उसका स्क्वाश बनाने में जो प्रशिक्षण देके हम लोग रोजगार दिलाने के लिए इसका यूनिट का स्थापना कर रहे हैं। हमने पिछले 4 साल में देखा सिक्किम में जो उपयोगिता है, तो जो ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट्स है वो अवेलेबल है गाँव में, उसको अगर हम लोग प्रोक्योरमेंट करके प्रोसेस करके अगर उसका वैल्यू एडेड प्रोडक्ट बना सके, इट विल बी मोर फ्रूटफुल एंड इट विल इम्पैक्ट ग्रेटली इन द प्रोग्राम। प्रधानमंत्री रोजगार सृजन कार्यक्रम है, इसको बढ़ावा देने के लिए और मार्केट में उसका कब्जा जमाने के लिए ये मील का पत्थर साबित हो सकता है। इसीलिए समय के अनुसार जैसा सैनिटाइजर, जैसा आपका नैपकिन प्रोसेसिंग, जैसा आपका हर्बल सोप, मच्छी अगरबत्ती, ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट्स, जो भी यहाँ पोटेंशियलिटी है उसके ऊपर हम लोग ज्यादा ध्यान दे रहे हैं।
PMEGP could provide a major push to the rural agriculture sector in Sikkim, which is a key livelihood source in the state known for its organic farming practices. With Saket Sarkar, this is Tashung Mubutia for Northeast Diary from AIR News, Sikkim.
The new integrated terminal buildings at Maharaja Bir Bikram Airport in Agartala were recently inaugurated. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the newly developed terminal. The Airports Authority of India, AAI, has organized a selfie contest called My Airport Selfie for the flyers at the newly developed terminal of MBB Airport, Agartala. The aim of the contest is to enhance people's aviation experience by incorporating trendy culture with routine flying. A report from our Agartala correspondent.
While speaking to AIR News, MBB Airport Agartala Director Rajiv Kapoor said the new airport terminal has been opened for flyers earlier and the airport authority is now trying to attract the passengers. He said selfie contest aims to add an extra flavor in the flying experience of the passengers.
त्रिपुरा का हमारा एयरपोर्ट गेटवे बन चुका है नॉर्थ ईस्ट का और सबसे सुंदर कृतियों में से एक है, इसलिए जो भी पैसेंजर यहाँ आ रहा है वो मंत्रमुग्ध सा हो रहा है। वो यहाँ के एयरपोर्ट का डिजाइनिंग देखकर, उसका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर देखकर, उसके रेप्लिकास देखकर, उसका पैसेंजर फ्री फ्लो मूवमेंट देखकर, यहाँ पर दूसरे तमाम तरीके के अरेंजमेंट्स देखकर वो इतने खुश हैं कि वो अपने आप को रोक नहीं पा रहे और अपनी सेल्फीज, अपनी फोटोग्राफ्स यहाँ पर वो कैप्चर कर रहे हैं ताकि उनके लिए लाइफ टाइम एक मेमोरी रहे। और इसीलिए यहाँ पर हम लोगों ने मेमोरी के लिए सेल्फी कंटेस्ट रखें, जिसकी बढ़िया सेल्फी होगी उसको हम पूरा पब्लिसाइज करेंगे और एक मोरल बूस्टअप उनको देंगे ताकि वो जो सेल्फीज खींच रहे हैं, फोटोज खींच रहे हैं, उनको इसका एक और आनंद आए कंपटीशन के थ्रू। अभी पैसेंजर मूवमेंट क्योंकि कम है कोविड के कारण, जैसे जैसे पैसेंजर मूवमेंट बढ़ेगी वैसे वैसे सेल्फीज खींचने के लिए कंपटीशन जो है और टफ होगा। लेकिन हमारे लिए बहुत खुशी की बात है कि पैसेंजर्स यहाँ आकर इसके लिए धन्यवाद दे रहे हैं कि इतनी अच्छी फैसिलिटीज, इतना फ्री फ्लो मूवमेंट और इतना सुंदर एयरपोर्ट हमने बनाया। और हमारा सारा स्टाफ, चाहे वो एआई का हो, चाहे सीएसएफ का हो, चाहे अदर स्टेक होल्डर्स का हो, संपूर्ण रूप से उनकी मदद कर रहे हैं, उनके साथ कर्टेसी जो है शो कर रहे हैं ताकि वो लोग जब यहाँ से जाएं तो एक मेमोरी लेकर जाएं अपने साथ।
For the contest, the passengers are asked to take a selfie at the terminal of the airport and to send it on a WhatsApp number. For Northeast Diary, this is Serena Nongmaithem from Agartala.
Assam's musician Angarag Mohanta, known by his stage name Pepon, has released recently 2 love songs, one in Hindi and another in Assamese on the occasion of Valentine's Day. A report.
Assam's musician Angarag Mohanta, known by his stage name Papon, has released recently 2 love songs, one in Hindi and in Assamese on the occasion of Valentine's Day. Hindi song is titled Choti Choti Galtiya and the Assamese track called Rode Rodale Sa. Sung by Papon, Choti Choti Galtiya features Gautam Gulati and Shivalika Oberoi, and the lyrics have been planned by Kumar. Webbed in an addictive melody by Meat Bros, the song follows a love story about forgiving mistakes that do not matter for bigger cause of love. Rode Rodale Sa has been sung and composed and programmed by Papon, and the lyrics are written by Jananjay Sekia. Set in spring, the Assamese song is a melodic experience of dreaming about love and waking up with its beauty. Papan says there is so much variety that comes from every culture in India. It fuels its experiments with music. Choti Choti Galtiya is a beautiful composition that has been independently created. He identifies the album as a fabulous composition, while Rode Rodale Sa is an Assamese song and is yet another take on love. He is also excited about the response to it. Papan is an Indian playback singer and composer from Assam and has lent his voice in numerous songs of different languages including Hindi, Assamese, Bengali, Tamil and Marathi. For Northeast Diary, it's Pranab Kumar Nath from Dibrugarh.
Today, in our Personality of the Week section, we bring you an interview with the Principal Director of School Education, Mr. Shanavas C, IAS. Talking to him is Asuno.
Nagaland is one of the states in India with highest literacy rate of almost 80%. Yet education in Nagaland at present faces numerous challenges and it's yet to function optimally. Public school education in Nagaland consisting of almost 2,000 government schools catering to around 1.50 lakh students have been in crisis for quite some time with low enrollment, large inter-district disparity in achievements, high dropouts and low service delivery. However, there is a ray of hope in the education system of the state with the introduction of Nagaland Education Project, the Lighthouse. To know more about the project in depth, we have with us this evening in our Northeast Diary program a very young and efficient administrator. He is Principal Director of School Education, Government of Nagaland, Mr. Shanavas C, IAS. Welcome to our program, sir.
Thank you.
Let me quickly share about who Mr. Shanavas is. He is an IAS officer, batch of 2012, Nagaland Cadre, now heading the School Education Department as Principal Director since 2019. He is also the Project Director of Nectar. Besides, he has been awarded with Governor's Gold Medal 2021 for his exemplary contribution towards education sector in the state. Kindly enlighten us about the Project Nectar. What are the aims and its objectives?
This Nectar, Nagaland Enhancing Classroom Teaching and Resources. This project was negotiated with the DEA, Department of Economic Affairs, and World Bank in the month of November 2020. And February we could sign the project documents. The project officially became effective on April 7, 2021. And the project is for 5-year duration and it will end in June 2026 for 5 years. And this is the first project on education by World Bank in Northeast India. Mainly we have 3 components in this project. So the first component is like system-wide reforms. We have at present 1,953 government schools, including government primary schools, middle schools, high schools and higher secondary. There are management issues with the teacher attendance, issues with the capacity building of teachers, and we have a communitization act going on from 2002 onwards. But how to effectively build the capacity of these SMC, SMDCs or the village education committees? It has been a major challenge. So we plan to address all these issues under the component 1. It will also address the EMIS. We call it like Education Management Information System. So this is like an individual identification of the teachers and the students. Many a time some schools are projecting some bogus enrollment, but the government is not getting to know. So all these things we plan to address. Then we go to the component 2, that is the teaching and learning environment reforms, in which we are going to select 15 school complexes across the state, at least one in all the districts. And these complexes will be a hub and spoke model. We will have a hub school, and this hub school will have surrounding spoke schools, which can be primary schools or middle schools like that. And this hub school will be selected based on a selection criteria. We have a proper criteria in place. We are drafting it right now, and we will give a scorecard to all the schools. They should have like minimum land requirements, and the performance will be evaluated for the last few years, and the nearby school, the accessibility. So based on all these criteria, the hub schools will be identified. Then there will be some infrastructural reforms happening in the hub schools. We will have the student hostels, the staff quarters. We will have the latest educational technology solutions coming in. We will have all these like libraries, lab, world class coming in. And there will be resource sharing between the hub school and the nearby spoke school, so that the entire area is benefited. So we are planning to have 15 such clusters in Nagaland. So that will be under component 2, and we need to build a capacity so that they also maintain, because after 2026, when the project ends, if the school is going to collapse, then there is no point. It has to sustain. The sustenance is the main important part, and we will have the district level committees, which will be chaired by the deputy commissioners of respective districts, and all the concerned departments, and we'll have the state level committee as well. So these district level committees, so they will have a continuous watch not only on the selection but the implementation and even the maintenance of such school complexes. That is component 2. Then we have a component 3, which is technical assistance. Under that component, we'll have the implementation support. So we have a project management consultancy with us, that is a KPMG group with us. Then we'll have the communication plan, and we'll have the COVID response. All these things fall under component number 3.
So you have said that this is funded by World Bank. What is the total sanctioned budget?
This project is like $68 million in Indian currency as of now. It is around 509 crore Indian rupees, the total budget. So this 500 or crores, we have a project appraisal document which is called PAD. So this is a document which has been prepared even before the launch of the project. So based on this document, as I said, we have 3 components, and under every component we have 4 subcomponents. For example, it's component 1, then you have 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, like that. So in total you have 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12 subcomponents, and every subcomponent is allotted some fund out of this. So it's very systematic. The money is already with us and we can just spend it. It's not like that. It's based on reimbursement. So every quarterly our performance is evaluated by the Government of India. That is called, we have a tripartite review meeting every quarterly, and every single activity we are doing, we need to get an approval from the World Bank level, which is called a step process in World Bank. And we have a project steering committee in the state, which is headed by the Chief Secretary. So we need to get the approval from the state government as well. And every single penny is like valued for. There will be a scrutiny of it. There will be 2 kind of audits. One is an external audit and one we have an internal audit. And the money has to go to the particular subcomponent and the activity only.
So is there a committee at the state level or district level this project?
We have a project steering committee in the state level, which is headed by the Chief Secretary. And our Secretary School Education is the Vice Chairperson. I am the project director. I will be the member secretary. The administrative heads of departments of all the important departments like health, power, the PNAR, PHE, everyone will be members of that committee. The committee will meet. Every activity we need to do, we need to get the approval of chairman of project steering committee, that's the Chief Secretary. So that is the highest committee. Then we have the project management unit, which is headed by the project director. We have the government officers there from NBSC, SCRT and everywhere. Then you have some contractual staff there, and we have a project management consultancy there. So this is the project implementation setup. But once the lighthouse schools come in place, we'll have the district level committees, as I said, which will be notified in a month's time.
So you have said about community involvement. So how community is going to play in this project?
Community will play in like 2 major roles. Under component 1, we have a feature called Performance Incentive Grant. So what happens is that even the schools, they get grants from Samagra Shiksha, but it's like very meager based on the enrollment. If the enrollment is like 1 to 25 something, they get 12,500 at a year, which will go only into the stationaries or electricity bill, newspaper bill and all these things. But what we are going to do is that 68 million, I told you, out of 68 million, $12 million are for performance incentive grant, which will come to around 90 crores. It's a huge lot of money if you actually want to use it. So what we intend to do is that we are not like distributing this money to every school like that and ask them to do work. We are going to have a competitive process. It will be a healthy competition among the SMCs or SMTCs. We will have a pre-disbursement criteria. We will apply this criteria to all the SMCs and SMTCs. So whoever gets selected, they will come as a first batch, and this batch will start maybe in June 2022 this year, and they will be given some money, and it will vary from GPS to GMS to high school to higher secondary. Maybe GPS will get maximum up to 3 lakh, and middle school maybe 6 lakh, and high school 8, and higher secondary 10. Suppose we select around 800 schools initially, which include all GPS and everything. We'll do a capacity building for them. Every school, the needs will be different. Some schools might need a little bit repairing maybe on the roof, a little bit furnishing. So it's not like you're going to construct a new school building. So it's not like that. We'll give them a do's and don'ts. Okay, these are the activities you can do. These are the activities you cannot do. Then we will evaluate your proposal. Then if it's a GPS, I said 3 lakh. So initially we will release around 75,000 first tranche. Then you give them a 6-month time. Then wait their progress. Are they doing good or not in 6 months? If they are doing good, you release a second tranche around 75,000. And in 4 tranches, you release a 3 lakh rupees for them. Then all together in the project 4 years or 5 years, we plan to cover as many schools as possible. Then if some schools are left out and if they are not fulfilling the criteria, that particular money we will use for the best performing schools by giving them some additional grants. And under component 2, of course, as I said, in the lighthouse school complexes, the community support is like very well required for the maintenance of the schools and for the support throughout.
Department has been involving with the community and you visiting districts. How is the awareness campaign going on?
The project got started in April 2021. So we thought that we should take this project to the districts. And we went to the districts in the month of November last year. We went to all the districts. We called all the stakeholders. We called the community leaders. We called the tribal ho-hos. We called departments and everyone, student unions. and we briefed them properly. Because we thought from day one we have to take the public and everyone into confidence. Because that confidence, if we don't get it, then at the end of the day, we won't get support from them because they are not involved and they will say that we were not involved from day one. So that is why we wanted to have that awareness.
So how has been the progress of the project in the state?
So we have some procurements to do, mainly 8 procurements. We need some agencies to come in to implement the EMIS, Education Management Information System. And one thing I forgot to mention, we are going to have a teacher attendance monitoring system under this project. It's called TAMS. So we are going to use the facial recognition system for attendance of teachers, which will even work offline. So Nagaland, we have a lot of connectivity issues, so we don't want that excuse to happen. And it will work with phone, it will work with even the computer also. And the attendance can be marked from anywhere offline also will work, and it will be GPS tagged. It will have a date and time stamp also.
Yeah, I think that would also solve the issue of
bogus teachers, proxy teachers and all, exactly.
So far, what are the challenges faced by the department while implementing this project?
You have a lot of initial attention to give, initial paperwork to do, or initial procedure to follow. So the initial 1 year is going to be very, very crucial, like the preparation year, which we are going through right now. So you won't find any visible changes in this 1 year. You can't expect the schools to perform well in like 1-2 months. It's not happen. We are going to invest for the future. So this 1 year we are going to plan, and from next year onwards you will start seeing the result.
Once the project duration is over, what next?
So World Bank actually, the project ends means like they will move out. Before that, whatever investment they do and whatever systems they create, it will be the state government's responsibility to take it forward and make sure that it is like going on smoothly.
You have been in the department since 2019. What will be your vision in the next few years?
You need a collective effort. I cannot do it alone, or the secretary cannot do it alone. We need to have a proper monitoring system so that the data flow is like very smooth from state to district to school level, and the schools are running every day and the teachers are in station and the students are coming and learning without any prejudice, and we are able to give our government school students some national or international quality levels of education. Whatever the students of other states or countries are getting, we want to make those things reach our students in Nagaland. So that might be our vision. So my vision will be, let the teachers do their job, let the government do our job, let the students also study, and situations will get better in another maybe 3-4 years.
Lastly, your message to our listeners.
My message to the listeners, especially on behalf of the department, will be, and we have a new project coming up, the Nectar, and we have so many other activities also happening even under Samagra Shiksha like Nibun Bharat and all. Please do support us. At the end of 4 or 5 years, when the project ends, you see a very renovated education system in Nagaland.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us in spite of your busy schedule. We convey our best wishes to you and your team for successful implementation of the Nectar project, and express hope that it will become a success story for our state Nagaland as well as for other states to implement such initiatives in future.
Thank you very much.
And before we wrap up the program, let us enjoy a Borgit song from Assam. With that, we have come to the end of this edition of Northeast Diary. Do join us next week to hear more stories from this enchanting part of India. Bye-bye.
This program was presented by Anuja Kumar, produced by Sharmila Goswami, and assisted by Kamlesh Mudgal. It was brought to you by the News Services Division of All India Radio.